The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through him, and without him nothing came to be. What came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. A man named John was sent from God. He came for testimony, to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to testify to the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him, but the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, but his own people did not accept him. But to those who did accept him, he gave power to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not by natural generation, nor by human choice, nor by man's decision, but of God. And the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. And we saw his glory, the glory as the Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, saying, "This was of he of whom I said, 'The one who comes after me ranks ahead of me, because he existed before me.' From his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace. Because while the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. The only Son, God, who is at the Father's side, has revealed him." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
For different people, different images sum up what Christmas is about. For some, the image is a tree, tinsel, ornaments, lights. For others, a crib, a manger cradling a newborn child. For others, it's a star guiding three magi from the east. For still others, Christmas is people. Angels singing o'er the plains, shepherd watching their flocks by night, Santa climbing down chimneys for toys, for good girls and boys. For others, it's Mass at midnight. For still others, it's an exchange of gifts with one another. Now, all of these have their place. But there is one constant which is at the heart of Christmas, and which we must never forget. It's the good news of great joy to be shared with all. It is that in Christ Jesus, God is here. Emmanuel, God with us. Not in a manger, that once happened, Well, where then is God? Literally everywhere. For Christ lives in every nook and cranny of this universe. He has to, because he is God with us. Wherever your eye falls, he is there. God is everywhere because God is active everywhere. Because without him, the sun would not shine, nor the snowflake fall. Without him, the grass would not grow, nor the sea surge. Without him, the morning dove could not sing, the coyote howl, or the roadrunner dart across the desert landscape. More personally, God is among you. Now, not every Catholic who worships in numerous places around the world today has that sense. For some, Christmas has simply become a holiday. And attendance at Christmas Mass, simply a tradition. God with us is not grasped, because three crucial Christian realities are not grasped. First, we who come in out of the cold already constitute a community of faith. We come to worship because we believe, because we have been called to faith and conversion, because we've experienced God. Secondly, once this believing community comes in out of the cold, our function is not to make God present. God is here, and not simply represented in the crib. He will indeed become sacramentally present, his flesh for our food, his blood for our drink. He does not come out of the blue, out of nowhere. He's already here, because you are gathered in his name. He is here in the word proclaimed. He is here in your hearts because you believe and because you love. But finally, and most importantly, our community prayer does not originate within the community, within us. Our prayer is a response. We are able to pray because the God of mystery touches us with his presence. The initiative comes from God, not present coldly, abstractly, distantly, but rather laying hold of us as a believing community at the very core of our being. Prayer is our responding to God with our hearts, to the God among us. Indeed, God is here in his Christ. Unlike his mother, I cannot cuddle him in Bethlehem. Unlike the Samaritan woman at the well, I cannot quench his thirst with water. Unlike the woman with the flow of blood, I cannot touch his garment. Unlike Mary of Bethany, I cannot sit in rapture at his feet. Unlike John, I cannot stand near his crucified flesh under the cross. Unlike the disciples, I cannot break bread with him on the beach. And yet, it is the same Christ who is here. Was here when you entered, spoke to you with his word, links you together with his love, makes possible your prayer, and in a few short moments invites you to a unique communion with himself. This is the one Christian constant. He's here. But to experience him here, you must cease to be spectators, on the outside looking in. As in all love, you must lose yourself. The ecstasy that means going out of yourself to celebrate Jesus as he is, as he lives now, beyond us indeed, but nevertheless God with us. If you do not find him here as he is now, do not look for him in the crib, for he is not there. Christianity is indeed a historical religion. Christ did come. But we do not survive on nostalgia. Christianity is indeed a present fact. Christ is here now. But we are not imprisoned in the present. The risk of being a Christian is that you open yourself to a future. And that future is God's future. The first letter of John is so insightful. It reads, "Beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall later be has not yet come to light." I do not know what tomorrow will bring. I only know that tomorrow Christ will be there. I do not even know if I will experience his presence. Only that my life, like our liturgy, must relive the Jesus who was and celebrates the Jesus who is. Only from that perspective is every challenging tomorrow an act of hope in God's future. And the day will dawn when that sentence of John's letter will be completed. We know that when it comes to light, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Blessed Christmas to you all.